Great. So howdy, everyone, as we say here at Texas A&M. Welcome to another SHIP chapter leader training. This one is focused for the chapter reports. So, whoops, why did it go to the end? Excuse me. That's kind of interesting. Technical difficulties. Okay. There we go. All right, so for our agenda today, we're going to do some quick introductions, and then after that, as you'll see, we're going to really break it down into some things that we've done for our chapter report, such as like going through balancing figures and context, being specific and concise throughout the whole report, effectively talking about the strategies and outcomes, and as well as using the CMT to gather good like KPIs and time management. I know for some of us in the call, like you guys, we can make this interactive. I also want to know, do you know what the chapter report is? Like, have you done one? Is it just like kind of brand new to you?
This is brand new to me.
Okay, sounds good. So essentially, we're gonna kind of get into why it's important, but I'll give you a quick rundown in a minute. So my name is Marian Bautista, and I am the president for Texas A&M SHIP, and I study industrial distribution.
All right, so howdy, my name is Alejandra. I'm a manufacturing engineer and I'm director of external affairs at A&M.
Howdy, my name is Joelle Alcaraz, and I am a civil engineering student at Texas A&M, and I'm the chapter secretary.
Great. So a little bit about our chapter. We go to Texas A&M. We're in Region 5. And besides this year, which we don't have it on there, but we received the Gold Chapter Award recognition. We also have a few accolades here, as you guys can see. So just kind of showing some credibility that we have. But for this presentation, we're going to kind of go over the chapter report. And essentially what it is kind of showcasing everything that you've done for your chapter and the region. No, sorry, not the region. SHIP National will go through these. And so in our presentation, you'll kind of see screenshots of our report. So this is an example of ours. And so you'll see a cover letter, some chapter highlights, and then as we're going to talk about, it's broken down into the different sections. But just so you know, a lot of the screenshots are simply taken from here. And then we're also going to share a report. So once you guys receive this slideshow as well as the links, you'll be able to follow through very easily. But yes, we're going to go ahead and get started.
All right, so I'll be covering the importance of the chapter report. The most important thing about it is that it gives you eligibility to get chapter awards and recognitions, like Marian mentioned. You can also use this in sponsorship letters to get support from potential sponsors, and sending this to companies or other academic organizations for funding for activities or other events that you want to introduce to your chapter. And last but not least, it provides a prideful environment for following years. So this is something that our members in future years can see and say, hey, I'm part of a chapter that was able to get the Golden Chapter Award. So it's something that we pride ourselves in and something for our members to also recognize. So following that, Marian's going to go over the guidelines. So this is a document that includes all the information that you're going to need when completing the report. So it's going to have acronyms, it's going to have your mission and vision, a lot of important resources that you can have as well. But the most important thing is the rubric at the very end. So of all that information at the very end, the rubric. So this is going to be your best friend. It's the official template for your CMT report. And so you're going to want to make sure that you're including everything that the rubric is asking for to highlight any valuable information or highlights throughout your year to get you as many points as possible for the report. That being said, consider it kind of as a checklist for
Recording in progress.
For everything that you want to have, and matching the information that you're putting there to the CMT, which is what we're going to talk about later on. But just remember that when you're starting off the report and you're done with the member recruitment before moving on to member retention and member success, that everything you've included in your sections is 100% correct and you're including the correct metrics for it. And speaking of metrics, we're going to talk about balancing figures and content. So the easiest and the fastest way to show the data is quantifying their value. So we're engineers, we love numbers, and including the number on money raised or the number on how many offers were received in national convention or the number of volunteering hours, and especially the growth in numbers for your members, for how many have attended certain events or certain fundraisers. Just all of this really drives the point home, especially if you explain it, how you got those numbers and why those outcomes occurred with an explanation for them. So the explanations are just as important as the figures. For example, we have our SHPE's committee chart with growing numbers. And so this is visually very appealing with its growth, but the explanation is what really makes it really impactful. We have explanation on the timing, the strategy, and the outcomes, and to why the specific metric is something that we care about deeply. So this includes how we've made changes to contribute to the numbers that have been growing throughout the years, and some positive changes that we've included to the chapter as well. Sort of on the same page, we want to make each graphic unique and important and have heavy significance within the report. So the visuals and the graphics have to be engaging and memorable. So the figure you see on the right, which is kind of long and includes lots of fun stickers and fun numbers. This isn't something that we had to include in our report, but our president did, and it's highlighting different numbers and graphics, and it's a really good summary onto what we do. So that alone makes us stand out. Including large icons and color coding and charts and making everything pretty is really good, along with presenting your KPIs with it, or like sort of around it, as you see in the pie chart to the center of the slide. Now, most importantly, all of that is very much going to make your your report very well-rounded, but connect everything back to the CMT goals and the SWOT analysis. So include lessons learned, and there's going to be weaknesses as well, but there's always something you can take from them and make your events in the future much more impactful and always move towards improvement. So with that, for the SWOT analysis, include any strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, or threats for a more complete SWOT analysis.
Perfect. So now that we talked about balancing figures, we will be talking about being specific and concise. It is important to reflect on the section length and what is required based on the page limit. So as you can see in the figure, member recruitment is 2 pages total, with CMT planned activities being half a page, CMT obtained outcomes 1 page, and lessons learned being half a page. So member recruitment, member retention, and member success in terms of page limits are pretty similar, as you can see as well. It is also important to focus on the most impactful details that truly showcase the goals that you have as a chapter. So for instance, we included significant recruitment events such as Howdy Week or Ships and Salsas, as well as including the attendance numbers, purpose, and the 1 clear outcome. So in this case, our 1 clear outcome was ensuring that students are inspired to join our familia here at Texas A&M. When looking at the figure as well, you can see that certain numbers are bolded, such as the 15 or the 125 students. These bolded numbers truly reflect the metrics and go along and coincide with the figure towards the right. Now, it is really normal to have struggles that you may showcase throughout whenever creating the chapter report. And a struggle that we encountered during this process was reviewing our lessons and reflecting to ensure that they were not similar to the lessons that we had for previous events. So in terms of making these sections more organized and creating valuable and concise content, we decided to divide it into 3 sections. These sections including the value provided to the members. This highlights how our members grow both academically, professionally, and socially. The second section being planning and implementing of the value. So this highlights how intentional and creative planning can truly help execute the values overall of our chapter. Third being evaluation of the values provided. So this showcases how our member success can be found through surveys or different engagements and outcomes overall.
All right, so next we want to talk about effectively talking about strategy and outcomes, right? So something to keep in mind is you want to be specific about your goals, your actions, and your results. So essentially, here we have a screenshot and you can see that it has the goal, which is basically member recruitment, the actions that we took. So in that chart, those are just random like A&M words, but really they're events that we hosted and that we've had. And so that's the actions that we took. And then you also see the results. So in that description, you're going to see things like attendance and percentages and growth, and something that Geraldo was talking about as well. So just making sure that those are very clear to the eye is going to be good to communicate what your outcome was. And then you can see where the arrow is. We have CMT SMART goal completed. So kind of after every section, we have that to really highlight and tie it back to our CMT goals. And that way it's just easier to read as well. But moving on, we also want to make sure that we provide context. So you'll see that every kind of chart that we have and graph that we provide also has some sort of like reflection explaining like why that result matters. So you're not just kind of left in the blue as to what it is. And that really just strengthens like the overall report. But also for this whole chapter report, and I know for those of you that are new, it's like a lot of acronyms and stuff, but the CMT is what we're going to get into. And essentially, it's like a huge platform where you just gather all your data for events. And that's descriptions about what the event was, number of hours spent, and different details that we can get into. But overall, it's just important to consistently track them. Because as you just saw throughout our presentation, we have a lot of numbers, right? So it's important to make sure that we're keeping track of what that is. A good thing to do is also you can look at other reports and strong examples. So for example, we use this one from Urbana-Champaign. And what we really liked about their whole thing is they clearly have the tabs. So if you have seen the CMT before, you'll notice that there's some tabs here that are kind of uniform to everyone. So I'm not going to get into the CMT as much because this isn't the training for it, but they have a master calendar, which I thought was very nice. And so here you can kind of see a very general overview of all their events without much description. And so that's something that we're going to try to mirror. But essentially for the CMT, thing that we want to suggest is in the past, we have done a Google form. So this is essentially the Google form that we used. And it would have all the questions regarding the CMT and we would fill it out. But as a past member of the board last year, I'll be honest, and a lot of us didn't fill it out as often as we wanted to. And it would kind of just build up until the last second, until our president like really needed this data. But then you kind of tend to forget or etc. So to combat that, in our current e-board meetings and our weekly ones, we usually do have a section where we talk about just some events, like event recap. So here in like pink under secretary, that's typically what Joelda will write in our events when we talk over them. But now we're implementing literally like every question that the CMT asks, and it's broken down into some things that the secretary will write during the meeting. In blue in the section, each individual officer is responsible for filling it out like as we're talking about it. And then just for organizational purposes, like I'll fill it out beforehand in terms of what exactly event we're talking about. So this is kind of just a way to organize it, and it does take a little bit of extra time during your weekly meetings, but I strongly suggest to do this because it will save you time in the long run. So currently ours looks like this. Like I said, it's a work in progress, but essentially we have all of the details that they're looking for in the CMT. And the goal was essentially just to extract that information from it. And then from there, you can make your charts and your graphs and everything that you've seen on the report. So going back to the presentation, essentially that CMT is what's going to tie it all back together. We talked about metrics, we talked about the SWOT analysis and things like that. So just another quick tip would also be time management. So really for us, let's say we're starting today, right? You want to just begin by planning out and like outlining all the sections. So that means taking out the rubric that we mentioned and just going through what you have. And then for the next 2 weeks, kind of draft up all your responses. You can use like yourself or do it with other people as well. I suggest making it collaborative and having multiple people on this. And then the following week, just like revise it again, make sure all the content aligns and it's what you want it to do. And then finally, just like some final edits and some proofreading. On January 8th, you'll see we kind of made a deadline. So make something ahead, and that way you're done with it a week in advance, because you never know, you might want to revise it or things happen. So make sure that you're planning to finish way in advance before the deadline. But of course, the submission is due on January 15th. I will say that you can obviously reach for support. So I suggest doing this like way before the 14th of January if you need help. But some resources that you can use is the website for SHPE National has a lot of different examples for what a good one looks like, or the rubric as well. You'll find those resources there. But we also contacted Ashley and Miriam, and they've been huge help in the past with all of this stuff. So really feel free to talk to the SHPE National professionals because they're extremely helpful. And then also use your local chapter, right? So use a past president that may have knowledge on it, and use your current board and your members to proofread it, or maybe just get a different perspective of what an event was. But overall, I will say it might seem like a little bit intimidating, but the main goal really is you're just trying to showcase that you're following SHPE's mission and making an impact, right? And of course, make it appealing with graphics and organization, because at the end of the day, it's going to be the people reading this read like hundreds of these reports. And really, you're simply just communicating that you love SHPE and you're making an impact and growth. And the people reading it on the other end are also people who believe strongly in the mission. So it's overall such a really like positive thing to do. I will say that I know there's a lot of us here that maybe don't have as much like numbers as we do. And so I wouldn't get intimidated by that. Honestly, just use this as a rubric. And of course, if y'all have questions about anything that it is regarding whatever we went through, feel free to ask us and we can go more in depth. But as we say here at A&M, thanks and gig 'em. Any questions? Yes, John.
Yeah, so what advice would you give to a starting chapter that has less than, I would say, probably maybe even 20 or 30 people? What can you say could help us improve? Do you think collaboration or new ideas could help?
For the report itself and how to start.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So honestly, the good thing is that you have the rubric, and really by that just helps you tremendously. So I would suggest going to the rubric and really just brainstorming like the events that you have. Have you started a sort of logging every event that you've done in terms of the descriptions?
No, as of right now, we haven't, like, this semester, like for next upcoming semester, I won't be able to start it. I'd be able to start it like in the fall, at least. But I want to get myself acclimated with all of this just so I could understand the report beforehand before I submit it.
Yeah, no, of course. So I would say definitely start gathering that, because once you gather it, it's not just to get numbers, it's also to like reflect. It's like, oh, did this event go well? Did this event go bad? And essentially that's what it's all about. So start recording what you have in terms of the actual event. And then from there, you can just kind of form it into how the rubric was. So we kind of went above and beyond because we have a lot of numbers to work with, but that would definitely be a good foundation to start making a report. Do you have anything else?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Leonardo?
Hi. So for the there's a part of it under, I think it's recruitment, that says provide the total number of new paid SHPE members that were recruited. Do you guys just reach out to chapters for that?
Oh, to ask for, what do you mean?
Yeah, to the chapters.org email, or if y'all reach out to SHPE National.
Oh, okay, to get that actual number. So I
Yeah.
think, well, Joe, that you have a good
Yes.
answer for this one.
So which portion is he talking about?
He's talking about recruitment and how we get the numbers of new members.
Okay, yes. So the numbers of new members, we typically have a application for our members to apply at the beginning of the year. So it has different sections based on if you're a returning member or a new member. So that application is just a simple Google form, and then we go through the responses every year. So currently, I believe we have like 300 to 400 responses right now, with a total of about 75 new members. But that's just kind of how we reflect back on our new and returning members, based on the Google form as well.
I see. Thank you guys.
Go.
I'd like to just add a little bit onto that. Thank you for your answer. Leonardo, you can always also utilize so chapter presidents are given key contact access or access to Ship Connect. And that is another way to verify your membership roster. Now, it's not perfect. It's a system that it will show expired and non-terminated members as well from time to time, depending on when you access it. So I would say that if you're using, I think the advice that A&M just gave you, the chapter just gave you is great. I think if you want to double check and see if you have, if the number of members that you think you have match what is registered on Ship Connect or at national level, you can always access that way through as from your Ship Connect account. And just make sure that you're looking at like expiration dates, that you're really paying attention to that piece so that you don't count somebody that you think is active, but they may have just expired. And when in doubt, you can always reach out to chapters at ship.org. And I'm going to give you guys another email address just in case for like membership numbers and membership like questions of that type. You can reach out to myself and my team. And we can definitely help you if you have any questions in that regard. We'll just put it right here. And that was all I wanted to add.
Thank you.
I see. Thank you, guys.
Of course. Any more questions? Okay, since we have time, I will use it. I'm just going to go quickly again over our report and kind of help you all see the breakdown of it because I know there's a lot. In total, there's 9 pages, and this is the cover page. So if you go to the rubric, I'll be going back and forth, so you just see real quickly. We have that cover page. It's worth 0 points, but of course, like you want to make it pretty. As well as the chapter highlights, same thing. So the points, technically there's 18 per report, and you submit 2 reports at the end of the year. And it's an addition of those points I get you it. So I believe it's 35 not to get the gold recognition. So essentially you have to get the most. But you've seen rubrics before. It's kind of in classes. Just make it as good as you can, and you should be able to get those points. So the first one is cover letter and chapter highlights. Again, cover letter. And then the chapter highlights, this is where I believe it was Ale who talked about it. On the right, this is a way to showcase like what you have. So kind of going back to like, hey, I'm a small chapter, like I don't really know how to make it appealing or whatever. Like just use your creativity, right? Nowhere does it say make an infographic and use all these colors. But our president last year, Selvin, who actually was the one giving us all this knowledge, he did an excellent job. And he went out of his way to go ahead and make this, right? And I believe that's also what made us stand out. So just kind of food for thought. It doesn't have to look like this, but you guys can go ahead and use something like that. We also have our sponsors and whatnot. And then it breaks down into those 3 things. So member recruitment, member retention, and then lastly, member success. And then it goes over planned activities, obtained outcomes, and lessons learned. And that's really how it goes, like ×3. So we'll start off with that. You can see like we did it A, B, and C. So A is CMT planned activities, B is the obtained outcomes, and then C is the lessons learned. And again, lessons learned, we decided to break it down into how we did, but you guys feel free to do whatever you need, as well as membership retention. Now this is the second part. And we just go over like different things that we have within our chapter, obviously just focusing on the recruitment retention, and then the member success, same thing. So as you see, we have different graphs. Something you can say is we had 22% of our members were sponsored for convention, and out of those, 51 received an offer, right? And so if you're saying, well, this doesn't tell us how big the chapter is or anything like that, and that's like a good way to showcase, even out of 20, 30 members, how much of it was it actually impacting. And yeah, we have graduates, so you guys can just take pictures as well, include those, make sure it's nicely presented, and then support needed at the end. As this honestly is just a good way for you guys to communicate some things that you may be needing help with. And that's obviously like extremely normal. So if you're transparent about even things that you struggle with, even though this is a report to represent your success, I mean, just being transparent is good. Like I said, it's just people on the other end. But besides that, I mean, we're going to be sharing our presentation slides and a lot of helpful links for you guys, but we'll also send in like our email and things like that. So if you guys want to ask like a fellow chapter instead of Ship National or whoever, feel free to just text us, and we're like more than open to helping you guys out. Okay.
Any other questions? For our A&M chapter who did an amazing job in the presentation.
Thank you. We wanted to get a picture. Would it be possible if we could screenshot with everyone? John's ready. Let's see. Okay, how does it look? Should I put? We can put thanks and giggle. Okay.
Okay.
Can you guys giggle too, or is that doing too much? I know John wants to giggle.
Let me know when to smile.
Aggie, no.
Okay. 3, 2, 1. Oh, hold on.
Oh, he did it.
Wait, I didn't get it.
Oh, he did it.
I didn't
Great.
hear it.
Okay. Sounds good. Thanks for gigging him, John. You're officially an Aggie.
Oh, I would just like to share, I don't know if y'all have access to like our email, if y'all want to reach out with any questions. It's just tammyship@gmail.com.
Can you put it in the chat,
Oh,
please?
you got it?
Actually, you.
Yeah, there it is. Oh, she was ready.
Thank you. Thank you.
Always.
All right.
There it is, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, and thank you all for giving us the opportunity to speak.